So. Hot mics.
Oh, here we go.
You see it?
Yeah, I see it.
I don't see it.
You don't? It's right there in broad daylight.
Alright. Man, got 2 people watching already.
Early arrivals.
Off to a hot start.
We're on fire.
Steph Curry in the first minute.
You see,
break a record tonight.
you see Steph out there running the hills in Dubai.
No.
He was out in the sand, and then Kenny Smith tried to do it too. Kenny didn't look too comfortable.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Max. Yeah. But yeah. So I was out there, Miami Carnival.
Yeah.
I got into some trouble, man.
Really? Are we talking like federal crimes or
No, man.
fisticuffs?
So I ran into this this girl that I know from school.
Bethune?
Yeah.
All right.
Bethune. She was out there. She was in a band but we took a picture. She was with her sister, yeah, and we took a picture.
Okay.
And I wasn't even thinking anything of it. I didn't think anything of the picture at all. We took a picture right there, boom, boom.
Yeah.
And then she posted it. She posted it.
Did you not learn your lesson?
The problem is
You literally told a story about this.
I honestly, I didn't even think anything of it. I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think she was going to post it. I didn't think it caught me a little bit off guard. Like, oh, take a picture, but whatever. But when she posted it, I thought she did a decent job. She said, hey, I ran into my dog or whatever. It's like.
Rather than this guy smashed me later that night.
That was not the case.
Okay, I'll just, she could have intimated that.
Maybe not. But listen, so when it got posted, then it's like, oh, then you get messages. I didn't know that she's like, close friends with this person. I had no idea. How am I supposed to know these things?
That's what my point is. Like, you should have learned your lesson from that earlier picture and assume the worst.
But what am I supposed to do? Like, hey, no pictures? What am I? What am I?
I'm a confidential guy. No pictures.
No pictures at this time.
You could keep this for your personal collection, but not to be posted on any social media form.
I don't think you could pull that card.
I think you got to do where it's you got to get. I think the key is you got to get another person at least in the picture. Got to go with the group picture.
That's the key.
Anytime you just have the two-person picture.
Because, so she was sister took the picture. I had to say, oh, hold on. Let somebody else take the picture. Let's all get it.
Yes.
That's the move.
That is the move.
See, that's wisdom.
Yeah. I didn't get old for no reason. I'm over here with wisdom, man.
I like that move, man.
Yeah, no, you absolutely got to do that. Just make, or like just, set it up where there's just enough people in the kind of the background. That's not like a two-person picture. Yeah. That's the key to everything, man.
I think so. Group
pictures. Couples pictures are never good. Unless you're really about that life. Which we know despite your best efforts.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
That's too funny, though. Yeah.
Let's start this
Hold on, let's get somebody else to think.
Where am I at here?
That's too funny.
Once again, you guys are back on the Bench Podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. Taking a small break from the music. I actually had a plan to put together some of Bay Bubs, who's a friend of the show, some of his latest IG clips. We'll get that on next week.
He's dropped a couple.
He's dropping a ton, man.
Yeah.
You know what's interesting is
went with the shirt off last one.
Went with the shirt off. You always gotta love the shirt off from an out of shape guy. Not super fat, but just like if you went to the gym, it could do you some good.
Exactly.
But you know,
might be time to redo your membership at the gym, babe.
But what's funny is
they got a special at Planet Fitness.
It's a couple of things when I listen to him always, and it comes from. It seems like it comes from a place of hate when I really think about it, but it doesn't.
Place of hate
because he's my cousin. But he's also like one of my favorite artists now, right?
Yeah.
So when like for example, first of all, when I listen to him, I'm like, you know, because I used to rap when I was his age and younger, and I thought I was gonna be the best rapper in the family. Like there was no one else to challenge me.
Yeah.
That's clearly
or
over.
so you thought.
That's over. And then you have like so he posts so much, and it's like it's free. This is like just free music he's putting out.
Yeah.
And so I tell him, I say, you know, hey man, you might want to save some of this. Yeah? You know, like he's just put out free bars, and he's like crazy. I mean, like you're gonna put it on a song, like, and he doesn't reuse these. Like these are just empty 16 bars he just puts out and puts on social media, and he doesn't reuse them.
Yeah.
For a song, and then he does songs with people like guys like you would never hear of. Just because he's friends with him and stuff, and he'll just go crazy on it, and he won't reuse that verse. I'm like, hey, nobody's going to hear this song. Nobody knows this guy. This guy's terrible.
Yeah,
they're not going to listen to this song. You can reuse this verse, and I'm like, you know, and I'm telling him, he's like, no, man, you know, like I have a lot more. Like I have so much more. And I'm thinking in my head, you can't have a lot. You can't have much more than this, man. You gotta save some of this.
He's
but
not
he
worried.
He's not worried.
He's not worried at all.
It's a limited clip, man.
You're projecting. You ran out of gas and he didn't.
I definitely ran out of shit to say. And I'm like, yo, you know, you're gonna run out of shit to say, man. I'm trying to like, you know.
Just drop the hate, embrace the love, man. If the man says he's got more bars, he's got more bars.
I guess so, man.
It would be a sad day though, like if he just kind of sitting on the toilet one day, like, fuck, I'm out.
I'm out.
I got nothing.
Well, we have a pretty good show for you guys today. We have the Luminary podcast. CJ is going to come in and join us and talk some things that he has going on with his podcast coming up and some of the content that they're driving. And also, of course, you know, we're home of sports, music, and mayhem. So we got some NBA, NFL, some crazy, unique stories going on in the world of sports and entertainment today. And we're going to get to that.
I got to circle back, though. Was there a moment when you just knew you lost the title?
Oh, yeah.
What was that moment?
Big Finance, when I heard that song.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what was your reaction? Like, just damn.
Yeah. That's not even his best song, but that's better than all my songs I ever made.
That's good.
Oh, man.
My dad has a good story. He used to race motorcycles, and the moment when he knew he would never be like a real champion, he was riding at a track, and there was a young guy, like a 18-year-old guy, and my dad thought he was flying. He thought he was riding as good as he possibly could. And this other guy who's 18 years old, like, passes my dad using a line that my dad didn't think you could possibly ride without crashing. And then my dad knew. It's like, I'm never going to be a champion. But to his credit, that 18-year-old guy ended up being like a 7-time national champion. So you lost to the right guy.
That's for sure. Once again, on the Biz Podcast, we're available on all podcast streaming platforms. Including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. You know,
tag motherfuckers.
Yeah.
I just heard about that.
Yeah.
Just tag somebody.
That's it.
If you like us, tag somebody.
Tag a friend.
Even if you don't like us, tag an enemy. Even if you think we're total crap, tag somebody you hate so they have to listen to us. Subject them to our brand of violence.
That's the way to go. That is the way to go.
Yeah.
You know, I was thinking on the way over here. You don't remember. I don't remember a lot of my teachers' names. You only remember the teachers that, you know, whatever, something connected, or you know, whatever.
You know what the first thing as you're saying that was? In 7th grade, middle school, there was a music teacher with really big boobies. And as you're saying that, I'm thinking about, like the music teacher with big boobies. I can't tell you her name at all, but I remember the boobies.
This particular teacher I had was actually in college, Dr. Manswet.
Man's what?
Manswet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was Haitian, a Haitian professor.
Okay.
And you know, it was funny because I only remember.
Was that the first Haitian woman you had?
No, man. I only remember two professors, and that's her and that's Mr. Caputo, as far as the names and stuff like that, because I remember all of them, but it's just direct names. And Mr. Caputo is the one who got me into radio broadcasting, so I'll never forget. He taught me a lot of stuff. Dr. Mansuet, though, I only remember her for this one particular reason. So we would take her class, and pretty much almost everyone hated her because she was she was really, really strict and just zero nonsense. And I remember one time we had to have an assignment in or something. It was something to that effect, a project or an assignment or something. And this girl was trying to explain to her why she didn't have her assignment or project ready. And she was just saying, my mom is in the hospital and my sister's having a baby and there's just a lot going on right now. And, I appreciate if I can have an extension. And Miss Dr. Meswet said, "Well, is your mom dying?" Girl said, "No." And she said, "Does your sister have the baby yet?" Girl said, "No." She says, "Well," it's not funny, but she was just like, "Well, worst case scenario, if your mom did pass or if your sister did have the baby, what really could you do at that time? What really could you have done?"
Right.
You have, you're in college. You have things to do. Also, it's a bad excuse because I'll give you plenty of time to do this project. So you
could have anticipated the passing of your mother.
And it's just, you think about it. It's just that when shit happens in life to a lot of people, man. Bad stuff happens. Unfortunate things happen. Life happens. And it can happen to the people around you and closer in your life, but you still got to handle and do your shit. You can't not go to work or not, get something in or not pay a bill because worst case scenario, your mom is passing or your fucking, your brother just got shot or something. Like, you got to take care of what you can take care of. Let the doctors take care of what they can take care of. And when you get done taking care of what you need to take care of, then you can go for the emotional support.
Exactly.
Because at that time, that's all you have.
No, I think that's brilliant. I mean, like there's a level where like your bills, your job do not give a damn about you.
Yeah.
Like your only function is to make them get paid or do the job you're paid to do. And that's a reality. And you have to accept that. And like whatever's going on outside of that does not matter to the job and it does not matter to your bills.
Right.
And you got to accept that and live that. And again, that is that other thing where it's like when certain things are happening, like legitimately, if you're not a doctor, like you don't have a damn thing to do.
Right.
You're just going to be on standby in a waiting room or a living room somewhere in case somebody needs you to do something. It's not realistic. Like I've never been big on people just shutting down when things happen. And I also think it's unhealthy that you kind of like can get stuck like dwelling on something that you have no control over.
There you go.
You really don't. If somebody's sick, if somebody's having a baby or not having a baby, like, you just can't do anything unless you are like a legit medical professional.
Yeah.
And it's, the quicker you adapt to certain realities of life, the better off you're going to be.
That's it, man. CJ, you wanted to join us, man?
That's why he drove over here.
There you go.
What's happening?
Not much.
I like your carefulness too, man. A lot of people trip over wires, hit the camera.
Yeah, we had a guy do that last week.
Stuff is not cheap.
Yeah, man.
That's why you're struggling earlier.
Yeah, I know. There's something about these chairs.
So once again, this is CJ with the Luminary podcast that you're
sir.
starting up and getting out.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Any comments? What we were just talking about there, man, about my professor, Dr. Manswet.
Man, she is spot on with the idea of you ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
You got to either take care of your business or you just fail the class. Period. Because that's what's at hand at the moment. So
No, I think I'm big on that. I really feel you have to do what you can control, and
That's it.
you can't get too out of whack worrying about things that are going to be beyond your control.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. So, Luminary Podcast, man. Of course, we check their IG page out and things
Yeah,
like that because you have
Appreciate that.
you have some clips up for sure. And what is that handle for the people that's watching?
The Luminary Panel.
Luminary Panel.
Okay.
And sort of what kind of issues are you guys tackling and things discussions you guys are having on there?
Yeah, so basically the Luminary Panel is for aspiring entrepreneurs. So what we do here is we kind of use the established entrepreneur to give their story, their background about how they started, what they did to get through adversity, like the teacher did or explained.
Mm-hmm.
And we use that to inspire the masses that are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs. So for example, for you guys to start this, it wasn't easy. But I'm sure you had mentors, you had people online that kind of put you in position to learn from them, from their mistakes.
Right.
So we're using the mistakes into lessons, and then,
So are you an entrepreneur yourself beyond the podcast, or is this just a lane that you feel like, you're almost like a liaison to the aspiring entrepreneur and the one who's kind of been through the rodeo?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I actually started in the entrepreneurship world. So I actually had a couple clothing brands that I started on my own that I didn't know much about, but I knew I wanted to do something outside of the 9 to 5. So once I did that and failed miserably, I knew that I needed answers. I didn't know how to get it. So what I did was find mentors, ask them questions, and I'm like, okay, it dawned on me to think, okay, if I need questions, I'm sure people in my similar situation may need questions too.
Right.
So then I became a master networker where I'd be able to, connect with people and be the liaison between, myself and the things I want to accomplish. And from there, I was like, all right, let's start a panel where we can help these people like tremendously. So
Right. So you're always going to have. Is it going to be the same panel, the same group of people that's going to be on the podcast every time, or is it going to be like a rotation, different people?
that's a great question too. So every week we do someone different. No
Okay.
matter the field, it could be podcasting, it could be a doctor, a lawyer, it could be a teacher, it could be anybody in the field. But more so, we're tapping into the deepest secrets of why or how they got through the adversity that they did to get to that point.
Okay.
So I think that's what makes it so unique, because again, a lot of people can do a podcast, but the uniqueness is what sells.
Mm-hmm.
Like for you guys don't give a flip about what y'all talking about.
Yeah.
So it makes it fun. That's why you guys are so engaging.
Yeah.
So for us, we found a niche that I think is needed. I actually had a good conversation with this guy named Rupert Meganot. He's an Orlandopreneur. Basically, he helped start a couple billion dollar companies and a couple $1 million companies. But neither here nor there, he's like, there's only 5% of small businesses that are actually successful.
Mm.
But that's out of like 95%. So if we can help that 5% get to 10%, we made a great deal of work.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
and you got Chris here saying he's definitely going to check out that podcast.
I like
real.
the lane, and now I'm not even confined necessarily to entrepreneurship. I know that's your focus, but I just feel like a lot of younger people in general, like they don't know what they want to do and they don't know how to get there.
Right.
And to me, they don't know what it looks like when you're doing it.
That's good. Yeah.
And you'll sit there and say, I want to go into this field, and you have an expectation, but is it real?
Yeah.
Again, some people are like active, engaging people, and they're going into a field that's going to have them like locked down at a desk with minimal human interaction. That's not going to be a good fit for you, Or you're a very small person, personality, a timid person, and you want to be something that's going to require a lot of personal, charisma and salesmanship. Now you can learn some of that to a degree. But to me, like getting knowledge from mentors or information that's going to put you in a position to understand what you're actually trying to do and what it looks like day to day.
Yep.
I think there's a disconnect between basically, like you'd say, like the young student aspiring community and then the connection, the people that are actually doing it and know how to do it.
Exactly.
And that's where we become the middle man in between the two.
Yeah, I like that.
I think the biggest thing for a lot of people is they're chasing something that's not there, right? And what I mean by that is they don't know their passion, so they're not fulfilled in what they're looking to do. So, for example, in the beginning of my career, I was clothing. I thought it was clothing. But once I sat down, I was like, okay, what do I really like doing? I like to communicate. I like talking to people. Okay, how can I build something that aligns with that and also helps other people in my same situation? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
I get that.
From now I'm the happiest I've ever been in years because of it.
That's solid. Now, I will take a minor issue, and I saw one of your clips that talked about finding that thing that you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. I think you need to understand your skill set and find the passion there. But one of my old college roommates gave me a great piece of advice. He was talking to my son about like, how do you start a business and stuff like that. And his advice was this, and I thought it made a lot of sense. Watch people, but watch what bothers them. Watch what inconveniences them. And if you could find a solution to what inconveniences and bothers people, you have a business.
That's good, yeah.
And it's not always about like, hey, my daughter, she loves the clothing, and she's like, I want to be a designer of clothes. It's like, there's a million of those people already. Exactly. Like, what can you do that's going to solve a different problem?
That's good, yeah.
You know, and I think that, you know, you can use your skill set, which you're passionate about and motivates you and drives you. But I also think if you're going to be successful, you have to fill a need or fix a problem that makes life better or easier for people around you, and that's where the money is.
Yep,
you know, people will pay for something that gives them convenience, that gives them something that they value or that they don't want to do.
That's good.
Yeah. Sort of like us here. We don't want to have to buy this equipment and
that's right. We'll just
hook
rent
all
it.
this stuff up and just rent it, and that's the thing. That's why this is a business that we're here. You know, but it's a business we're happy to support here at ORAP Studios.
That's right.
Also one of the best recording studios. So all you artists out there, you come through, check out. But yeah, man, I love all of that because that's for sure a lot of people, especially, you know, I don't know when the tide changed, but entrepreneurship became such a huge, like, it was one of the buzzwords, like, I don't know, amount of years ago.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, man, because the 9 to 5, you know, a lot of people also, man, I don't want to say they're not meant to work for anyone, but it's really tough for a lot of people to work for others, you know, especially due to their personalities and things like that, and which kind of the only thing that is left is entrepreneurship or being a bum. So right?
You still have two choices.
You still have two choices. So, you know.
No, I think I'm gonna. You're got to be a lot younger than me, but like I feel that the entrepreneurial strain is becoming more prevalent for people of the generation that's now entering the professional life. Yeah. I just feel like that there's a lot of negativity almost associated with the 9 to 5 and the working for somebody else, and so many younger people in that probably like 18 to 26, getting out, starting a career, do whatever, are really driven by the notion I got to do something for myself, because it's not always going to work. Yep.
And for the younger crowd, I mean, you just have to understand, it's work. It's twice, 3, 4, 5 times the amount of work that you would do working for someone else, and you're already working hard for that other person. Yeah. So, are you prepared to do that work? Are you prepared to lose? Yeah. We know the stat of how many companies, whatever, fail the first time around, second time around. Yeah. Are you prepared and ready to fail first time out the gate, second time out the gate? You know what I mean?
And with this, you have to be crazy, man. You have to be different mentally because, like, for you guys, right? You guys failed so many times, but you enjoyed the process for you to keep going. Yeah. Most people, if you're comfortable with failing and then stopping, that means you're not crazy enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, there's a lot of ways. I mean, I put a lot of stock in Malcolm Gladwell.
Got it. Okay.
And like outliers and like the 10,000 hours. To me, it's better than the Bible. Yeah. But the 10,000 hour theory is that like to become an expert in something, you need to put in like 10,000 hours of time, and it's dedicated skill based practice and whatever that is. But the skill based practice is almost defined as you're going to fail. You're on the verge of failure. If you're not on the verge of failure, you're not practicing.
Yep.
You're just repeating things that you're already comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever that is, you've got to be willing to fail to get better.
That's very true. And you know, it's funny about you mentioned the podcast name, because I have like a lot of people reach out to me and say, hey man, you know, whatever, I'm starting a podcast. What can you tell me? Or let's schedule some time. And you know, I give them what I know, but you know, I spent so much time researching certain things, what time you should put out clips and how you should edit them down, where you should post them, when you should post, you know what I mean? And you know, what kind of content drives people, you know what I mean? All of that different stuff. It's hard to give you all of that information because of all the time, that I spent studying and researching and putting it in for those times. And then also, like you said earlier, because failing in podcasting is putting out something and not getting any views. Yeah. And that's going to happen a lot in the beginning. It still happens to us at times. So, you know, so I guess that's technically a failure. But A, do you love doing it and still going to continue to do it? B, right, is noticing, okay, what do people like? Even if we don't like it, let's still cater to our crowd.
Let's just sell on out. Why don't we?
How can we mix in what people like and notice what people don't like and try to spin that out? So it's you know, that's what it's all
like
about.
Science, man.
Yeah, man.
But the one movie, I say this in almost every interview I do with the panelists. One movie that changed my life and changed the perspective of entrepreneurship is Jobs. So basically, it's a memoir of Steve Jobs.
Oh, I didn't see that. Okay.
So basically, what he does is he has this idea, but his friend created the idea. But he's seen the idea bigger than his friend did.
Okay.
But he was able to articulate to the people and made the right people come in line. So basically, all I'm saying is, even if you don't know how to do the editing, if you don't know how to read the books, or you don't know how to read or write the papers, or whatever, find people that helps you do it and make them feel so passionate about it that they're willing to do it until you make a living off of it.
Yeah.
That's all it comes down to, because I know for me, I suck at editing. I suck at posting, but I got friends and people that believe in what I'm doing that's willing to do it because they see the passion I have for it. You know what I mean?
That's big. Yeah. If your passion can drive a project, but you've got to have enough, you know, you can't let your ego dominate where you have to control everything. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to welcome in talented people that have skills that are going to push you forward.
Yep.
But again, your passion can be the engine of it.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
For sure.
Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We have CJN from the LUMINARY podcast.
Luminary Panel, man.
Panel is on IG.
You're misbranding this bit.
Right.
Oh, so the whole thing would be Luminary Panel Podcast.
No, just the Luminary Panel.
Oh, so okay, dropping by. Okay, so Luminary Panel. I keep saying podcast.
I'm trying to help you, man.
We're using a podcast
platform, but it's the Luminary Panel.
It's all good, man.
All right.
It probably sound better, man.
No, Luminary Panel is great because it's a little different.
I saw the one clip where you kind of were like basically like cold calling businesses to try and get like their story, and like nobody was buying.
Nobody got it. So basically that was actually last week on a Wednesday. And I was like, yo, Ben, let's go to these small businesses and see if they allow me to just ask them a couple questions. So I went in there and I turned the failures into content. Like, you got to be okay with being rejected. But I ended up getting an interview for the following day. So it's going to be pretty cool to do.
The question I had two questions.
Yeah.
When you're going and cold calling like that, was it a lot of the situation where you were not, the person sitting there was not necessarily like the owner and they didn't really know what to do with you?
Yeah.
Was that happening, or?
So most of them were managers, but I went into a couple where the owner were there.
Okay.
And then they gave me the excuse like, "Oh, I'm too busy," or such and such. But I think it was one of those things where it threw them off guard, and they weren't prepared. Like, "Oh, I want to be ready for this."
Right.
But yeah, that's what really happened.
Okay, that's interesting. I find though that people, when they have a measure of success, they enjoy talking about it.
Yeah.
It's not hard to get them to talk about it.
Yeah. Even in the clip I mentioned, I was like, maybe because they're not prepared for something like this, but this is nerve-wracking for me as well because I don't know the outcome of it, but I enjoy doing it, and I know people will be impacted by it.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know what? It didn't like come off the same way, but like I had a little bit of the vibes. You know, like the TikTok guy, like he goes, somebody will be driving a fancy car, and he'll say, "Oh, hey, what do you do for a living?" and kind of ask a few follow-up questions.
Yeah.
That was the vibe that I was getting when I was watching it. I was like, that could be that way. Because it's really funny, and they'll randomly like walk into like a celebrity, like you know, to be like they'll just say something funny, like whatever.
That's just the power of networking, man. Like you never know who you're connected to and who you can be connected with.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I was connected with you guys through Marquise.
Right.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't connected with Marquise, I wouldn't be on this. So.
Right. And then when you got here, we realized that we'd play basketball together at Orangewood.
Yeah, exactly.
Which furthers my big life point that pretty much everybody of quality you meet in life is on a basketball court.
That's it. You're a hooper, man. You gotta be a hooper.
Kobe says, $1 in a dream doesn't exist anymore. Everything takes a lot of funding, luck, and talent.
Oh,
that's true.
Yeah.
He's disparaging Biggie. Well, Biggie said, "Fuck $1 in a dream." But
I want to give a quick shout out. Speaking of clothing, to one of our sponsors, Royal13thebrand.com. All right, use promo code BubbaPink and get all of your fly gear at a discount. I actually had the Hoochie Daddy shorts on and the IG picture with the on the bench shirt.
Yeah, that got a lot of attention.
Yeah, people were asking about the shorts. Those shorts come from Royal13thebrand.com. People were saying, "Yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to order some." Hopefully, you guys did.
Have they cycled to the discount stage part yet?
And thinking about it,
they've been out for a while.
I didn't comment and put the promo code. So if they did go, they paid full price.
Damn.
Unfortunate for you, but
good for Royal 13.
Good for Royal 13.
Somebody's winning out here.
So shout out to Royal13thebrand.com, making me look fly. All right,
it's a tall task.
All right, let's move on to some stuff here.
Let's do it.
Let's see here. Where do I want to go? Let's go NFL the player. Let's go here. So I'm going to play. It's going to be a video. It's going to play.
Oh.
Yeah, it's going to play here. You can put on your headphones if you want to hear the story.
Oh yeah.
So you can see what's going on. I just heard about this today myself.
After traveling to Mexico, spotted in several videos online, Sergio Brown is now back on U.S. soil. Brown, pictured here in his mugshot, is now in custody in San Diego. According to Maywood police, he was arrested while trying to return from Mexico. Brown had a warrant for his arrest out for the death of his mother, Myrtle Simmons Brown. Last week, the Brown and Simmons family shared a letter with WGN urging the Cook County State's Attorney's Office to update the family on the investigation. Today, loved ones say, "Our family is thankful that the Cook County State's Attorney's Office answered our call for urgent and immediate action in the case of our beloved Myrtle Jean Simmons Brown. We are also heartened by the news that Sergio Brown has been apprehended and returned to the United States unharmed. Our family is prayerful that as the investigation progresses, more answers will become available, shedding light on the circumstances surrounding this heartbreaking incident." On September 16th, 73-year-old Myrtle Simmons Brown, described as a woman with a contagious smile and personality, was found murdered near the Addison Creek behind the Maywood home police say she and Sergio shared. These incident reports obtained from the Maywood Police Department indicate Mrs. Simmons Brown hadn't responded to phone calls or texts since September 14th. The report also indicates that on September 15th, an officer tracked a cell phone to suburban Bolingbrook, but then the phone was turned off. It's unclear if that cell phone belonged to Sergio, who, according to online records, is now in the custody of the San Diego County Sheriff's Department. According to the Associated Press, a spokesperson with the San Diego District Attorney's Office says Brown admitted his identity and waived his extradition during a court hearing. We'll definitely keep you updated on the latest developments. For now, back to you.
This is a wild story. I remember catching this, that, at one point the player and the mother were believed to be missing. And then the mother's body was discovered, the player was not. And then he started posting from Mexico, like strange videos on social media talking about conspiracies. And then there was videos of him like partying. And just a really bizarre story with a lot of, a lot of things to figure out. Like, how could this happen? You know, what causes you to kill your mom? That's kind of crazy, you know.
That's like the Kanye
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, the thing. I mean, again, he played in the NFL. I hate to say it, but like, you have to think that maybe CTE had a role in this, in his behavior or what have you, because it doesn't, even just what he was posting from Mexico did not seem to be a guy who was
all there.
All there.
Yeah, a couple cans missing out that 6-pack. What it seems like.
He might have just had the little rubber plastic, wrapper there. All the cans are gone.
It's really
He might have shotgunned all 6.
So I just I just heard about this today, and then I went back to catch more of the backstory about, like you said, man, when both were missing, and then they found her, behind the home in that creek there, and then they arrest him today, and just directly linking him. You would think they would have to have something on him. They're not technically saying it yet. But
I mean,
why arrest him?
Well, just look at the facts. Like
It's
you
circumstantial
live
right now, though.
Yeah, but circumstantial tells a big story.
I know.
I don't need all the dots connected. I mean, like you live
big
with your
on that.
mom at a house.
Yeah.
She shows up dead in the creek behind, and you're in freaking Mexico.
Yeah.
Like, you're not worried about your missing mom. When the media hits that your mom is now dead,
You know it.
you're not racing back from wherever you happen to be.
Yeah.
Come on, man. It's human behavior.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't add up.
Right.
Like, let's give the benefit of the doubt and say that Sergio goes to Mexico to hang out with friends before mom dies. Mom is killed when he's gone. It makes the news. You're not coming back. We have to wait a couple weeks for you to get extradited back.
I'm back same day.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Whatever it takes.
that tells you all you need to know.
Yeah.
All that's left to be found is the particulars of why. Like, what actually, why would you kill your mom? The search for suspects is over.
Yeah.
As far as I'm concerned. It's like the Casey Anthony thing. Who else killed the kid?
Do you guys think it was a sacrifice?
Like a religious
Man,
sacrifice?
that's deep there. I don't know about that.
I'm not a religious guy. But
I
mean, there's a handful of people I'd like to sacrifice. Amen. Hallelujah.
I lean more towards CTE. I mean, we've seen the former NFL players kind of snap. Most recently, I think we talked about the guy who beat his girlfriend like crazy. I think she was pregnant too. We got in trouble on YouTube because we actually.
Oh, that was a while back.
Oh, that one was.
Yeah, that was like a Seattle Seahawks lineman.
Yeah.
I think.
But every once in a while, I mean, we talk about these stories about
Yeah.
these former guys who just snap.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff to that. Now, I mean, if you're gonna say sacrificed, I mean, like, to me, they would be discovering, some connection to some sort of bizarre religious group and things like that. That, online search, this, that, and that. Maybe it comes out. I mean, to me, it probably seems like I lean more towards some sort of CTE-based mental breakdown.
The reason why I said that, because you mentioned that he started doing videos about conspiracy and.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He was talking about cartel too, and
well, originally he was talking about like local law enforcement in the Chicago area, and then it goes to cartels. And to me, when somebody's saying stuff that just there's no clear line of connection, it's not evidence of anything. It's you're just kind of grabbing at straws to make something seem as though it's not. If there's something that's tighter and there's some degree of connectivity to it, then it makes more sense. And maybe it needs to be given a little bit more credence. But he was too all over the board.
Well, so if they arrested him, right? Now, if it comes out that he did murder his mom, what do you think, they're going to throw the book at him? They probably have to, right?
Yeah, I mean it's all fact. I mean the reality is, you have different degrees of murder. Like, first degree murder is premeditated. I plan to murder this person and I execute my plan and murder them. The second degree murder is kind of more of like a spontaneous heat of the moment thing, where you and I get in a fight And, in that heat of the moment thing, I make a decision to kill you and I kill you. Manslaughter is kind of the third thing, and that's where it's just kind of like a reckless disregard for human life. I'm just doing something really dangerous, like driving drunk, and I kill somebody in the process of doing that. Or I grab a shotgun and I just fire shots through my neighborhood, not aiming at a particular person, but I hit someone and kill them. That would be more like a manslaughter type thing. So those are like the legal degrees of murder. Now, if the most stringent is the first degree. He had a plan, he executed a plan. But if it's something where, as we might suspect, there's like a component of like CTE or mental breakdown, it'd probably fall more into like a second degree thing where this person snaps and, makes a decision to just do something spontaneously. I was thinking in my head too, she's an older woman, he's a, younger, athletic, powerful person. Like maybe there was some sort of dispute and he just hit her and that was enough to kill her. That doesn't excuse the act. I'm not saying that, but that's a different type of murder than, planning for 4 or 5 days. I'm going to wait till mom comes home and I'm going to, hit her over the head with my favorite baseball bat and I'm going to carry her out to the creek where she always loved to fish.
Sounds like you had to
sleep with the fishes, mommy.
Sounds like a plan you've been working on.
Nah. Mom, you're safe. You get another year.
Oh my God. We get in trouble on YouTube a lot for laughing in these type of situations. But I mean, it's not, we're not laughing at these people. We just, come on, guys.
Lighten up.
Yeah, man. So, yeah. I think, that's enough for now until we find out actually the why. Like you said, that's pretty much the next thing here. That's the only thing, really. Unless some mysterious person shows up.
I like the sacrifice angle, though, man. Where did that come from?
I don't know. It just something hit me, but it just seemed like it'd be something like that. Right. And then you talk about the conspiracy.
I'm gonna serve mom up for my sins. Way to take one for the team, mom.
LUMINARY or something like that, man. Nowadays.
Let's go from one crazy story to another.
We're on a roll.
Crazy but interesting story here. All right. So you have this teacher here. And I don't know what you think of her, but she's I don't know, she's sort of attractive to me. All right, so you got this teacher, Brianna.
She has that dirty librarian vibe with the glasses.
I think it's the glasses. Without the glasses, she's probably nothing, but with the glasses, she's very interesting. Brianna Coppage, okay?
Miss Coppage, where can I find the censored books?
She was suspended, and actually, she I think today or yesterday, she actually stepped down herself and resigned. Because the school found her OnlyFans page.
Really?
Okay. And what she said in Twitter today, she said she'll stick to porn. Although she does miss her students. She says she makes $10,000.
These two things are not connected at all. My missing of the students and my OnlyFans content completely separated. Two different worlds.
She's what, 20? As I say, 26 or 28. She makes up to $10,000 a month on the adult site compared to the $42,000 a year she makes.
I was literally thinking about 4 months of that. 4 months of that covers your school salary. So, yeah.
The rest is great.
And she don't miss her students enough.
I'm not going to be broke for my students. But think about it. Like she was earning $42 in the classroom and $120 outside the classroom. Oh. She's up at $160 a year. Like she's living large, man.
Now I've seen some of these pictures. I don't know if it's all the content or whatever. But some of these pictures are just regular lingerie type pictures.
Yeah.
That they had on Twitter. All right. Then they say there's some videos, but they were taken down. So I don't know what she's doing. Maybe she's doing something more explicit in the videos. But here goes the thing. So I tell my my cousins, my female cousins, I tell my female sisters, of course they're female. But I tell my sisters.
These days you don't know.
I tell my female cousins, I tell my female friends, the ones that ask me for money. I say, listen, man, these people are giving away money. Why, you have not exhausted all of your resources.
There should be 0 unemployed women. Like, as long as OnlyFans is out there. Like,
and from what I saw, she wasn't. It's like you guys post this on IG for nothing. For nothing. You just post it on IG for absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you're not a Champagne Room member, though. But okay,
Make $10,000 a month. She's not, and when she said she would stick to porn, that was like a that was a comedy. This being funny.
Right.
She's not smashed. She's not having sex. She's showing pictures of just her ass and panties.
Right.
And making $10,000.
Yeah.
And she's attractive, but I've seen a lot better.
I would hope so. No, I mean, like, there's a lot of levels to this. If that type of money is what she's making, like, again, why aren't more women doing this? But here's my thing on it. If OnlyFans is restricted to adults, if you have to have some sort of whatever, proof of age or screening,
Yeah.
and this woman's a good teacher, I have no issue with both happening. I mean, we have in this country a teacher crisis. Like, talented people are leaving teaching because the money's so bad, because the regulations and structure put on the teachers in the classroom with the lack of support is so bad that talented teachers are leaving the field, that it's hard for schools and school systems to bring in talented teachers, attract talented teachers to the industry. And if this woman is good at what she does, to be fair, I have no idea.
Right.
But if she's good at what she does, if she does something completely different that's not accessible by the kids in class, unless their parents are wild, let it keep happening. Like, it's okay for people to do two different things. It's not the end of the world. And if this woman can make a nice living and continue to perform in the classroom, let it happen.
Yeah.
Let it happen.
Maybe it's one of those things where, you know how OnlyFans has a rep as if it's only sex or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't understand that it's like not as explicit, but obviously it's more so for the representation of the school and the students and.
But that's again, like, you again, draw some lines. Like, you're not representing the whole school. I mean, like, unless your content is like, whatever, Brookwood Elementary on your panties, like, like, it's not connected. It's just what have you.
That is a good point, because that is, listening to you now. What's interesting is they didn't fire her right away. They only suspended her. So maybe they were trying to grasp their minds, like, okay, what's going on here? Can we, make an exception? I think.
Yeah.
And maybe in her mind, she thought maybe the hammer was coming down, so she just decided to step down. I'm not sure why she didn't wait on the ruling.
When you're suspended, I mean, just think about it. When you're suspended from your employer, you're not in a good position anymore. You have to see the writing on the wall. Yeah. And, like, let's just say you were a pretty popular, effective teacher, well-liked in the school. Now you're suspended. That stink doesn't go away immediately. Yeah. And you may not want to go through all that. Yeah. And, again, if she's got $120 in revenue a year from this other thing, it's like, I don't need to deal with this. Yeah. Like, why? It becomes an easy out.
But also, I imagine this helps her. Like this notoriety, this
for sure,
main news cycle.
She'll probably have a big bump in her.
People are looking her up. Yeah. I looked her up. What's going on over here?
What's going on? Yeah, I mean, that's certainly got to be a bump for her there.
We donate to the naked hustle. The OnlyFans thing is just really weird. It's a weird thing for me to.
The other level that I don't understand is, like, how is this much money available in OnlyFans? Yeah. Like, you can, like you said, there's plenty of free nudity. There's plenty of free porn. Yeah. If you have any game, there's plenty of pseudo-free sex. Like,
the pool for OnlyFans is these are normal day-to-day women. Like, this is a middle school teacher. Like, you can go to her school and find her. Like, that's the draw.
But but what I'm saying is, if your kid goes to that school, like, go shoot your shot at her. Like, maybe you get the real thing.
But at that point you're already on OnlyFans at that point. Yeah. Like, you understand? Like, you're already there.
No. I'm saying don't go to OnlyFans. I'm just saying. Like,
I know, but you don't
like,
know that this woman. You understand what I'm saying? Like you don't know she's available or whatever that she's into
until you're on OnlyFans. I don't.
Right. Until you're on OnlyFans.
I just don't know, man. Like I just.
But don't get me wrong. I'm not an OnlyFans guy.
But that's what I can't. Like you made a good point. So it's just OnlyFans. Like you just say that and it conjures up visions of sex and pornography and whatever.
OnlyFans was made for just like separate content.
I remember hearing that. Yeah.
Nothing to do with sex or anything, but they made it that way. So now that I guess the bigger porn stars or the celebrities
are doing it,
and made it that.
That's why.
Like she's doing better than some strippers.
Way better, probably. Less effort, control your own hours. I mean, come on, this is easy
she's
money.
She's a work from home stripper.
Exactly.
That's what she is.
And you don't have the creepy content. You don't have to have the bouncer walk out to the car with you. Make sure you get home safe. Wait, I don't know anything about that.
You have to give them 10%. Like you have to give those the
house,
guy,
the DJ,
the DJ, the tip the DJ. All of that's external.
I got more cuts than Jesus on the cross right now. What's up? This is wild. Yeah, this is. Oh man, I don't know. Like, why aren't more people? But I say that, but again, who's funding this? Yeah. Like, how many 45-year-old virgins living with their mother do we have? Like, who's funding this?
They're out there, man. And they're in droves.
It's frightening to think. I mean, I'm unsettled by this. That there's that many people that some random elementary school is putting 10 bands a month away.
Yeah.
And then you hear celebrities and stuff, and their numbers are through the roof. Who's paying this?
Yeah. The people that want access to these people.
That ain't access, dude.
It feels
You're
like
still.
It is to them.
It feels like your right or left hand is what it feels like. Let's keep it real. That ain't the access I'm in for.
All right, man. Well, kudos to Brianna.
Yeah, get your money.
Get your money. Continue to get your money. And for all of my relatives and female friends, please look into this for the love of God. I just don't have it.
For the love of your Cash App.
For the love of my Cash App. I just don't have it. All right. It's unfortunate. My niece has just turned 20. You gotta do what you gotta do, man. Please.
Hey,
stay out of my Cash App request.
There's a new teaching spot open. If you want to go that route. Oh, jeez.
All right. Once again, you guys are on the bench podcast with Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. We're available on all that I do mean all podcast streaming platforms, including here on YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. All right. Really quick here, I want to give a shout out to Men of Integrity. Okay. All right. This is a program that we have here. I know
these are the type of transitions you get here on the bench.
This is a mentoring program. Okay. We do not have Brianna coming in as a guest, but
sorry.
Yet.
This month is the STEM month. Okay, so we have we have a lot of interesting people coming in to teach the kids, teach the boys STEM and STEM related things here. We are accepting donations here. It tells you what the program includes: education, social skills. Alrighty, there is room to bring your kid along. Okay, it has all of the information you need here. Please look them up on Instagram. It has that up top there as well. You see the picture here. You actually see Lay here in the left.
Is he?
That's Ref Buckets.
Buckets
is there. He's there. So he came by and talked to the kids one time. We have all different type of guests come by, man. Men of Integrity. Look them up on Instagram. Donate. If you could donate $20 to Brianna, you could donate $20 to Men of Integrity. All right, that's the reason for the transition.
What is that? There's a psychological concept that when you do something bad, you kind of offset it with something good. I don't know the name of that.
The term, yeah.
But there is a psychological concept. So that whatever that name is, you can do it, and let men of Integrity be the beneficiary of your soul cleansing.
That's right. So Wemby, of course, the number one heralded player on the planet right now, who plays for the San Antonio Spurs. Of course, NBA preseason is underway, and he went against Chet, and this is not their first occurrence. They played quite a few times. Most notably, the first time, which Pink told me
The
about.
first time was in the U19 World Championships. The first time I saw them play against each other, probably I think the first time they played against each other, Team USA against Team France. And for me, Wembanyama was the best player on the floor by a good margin. The USA did win, but it was a hell of a game.
Yeah. And so they went toe-to-toe, head-to-head, and Wemby had some incredible highlights here. But Chet also had a really good game here, man. And, of course, he's bouncing back from a season-long injury. He was out his entire rookie season. So this season will count as technically his rookie season, a la Ben Simmons and a couple other guys.
I was going to say, if you go through the line, and I think Blake Griffin was one.
Okay. I think
Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid, and Chet. Guys who basically missed their rookie season, what would have been the rookie season, for injury, coming in the second year. I really think those guys are at a bit of an advantage. I know they haven't been able to play the games, but they've been in an NBA environment, and particularly a guy like Chet who's coming in with 1 year at college, you physically develop in that year.
And they all perform pretty well. Like,
that's what I'm saying. I think it's almost
Ben is awful now, but he came in. He came in
fantastic right away. His first year when he played. I think that this is like a little bit of a cheat code for some of these guys, and I expect Chet to have a really good year.
It's almost like that quarterback thing. Like if you sit down the first year, not due to injury, but I'm just saying, like if you sit down the first year, usually that second, third year, those guys
soak it up.
Yeah.
What happens is when, especially at this level. When they're going into a rookie season, it's a lot of adrenaline. They're very excited. They kind of get shaken. But when something like this happens, the game slows down for them, and it makes them understand angles a lot more. Makes them understand which ways to score more, where their sweet spots might be, what this player does better, what this player doesn't do so well. How can we gain an advantage that way mentally? So then, when it's time to play, it makes it easier for them to translate.
I remember reading. Larry Bird had an autobiography back in his playing days, and he alluded to a time in high school when he broke a thumb and missed 10, 12 games. And he really felt when he came back, the thing that improved most was his passing because he was forced to sit and watch. And then doing that, he really got to see the game from literally a different angle. And when he got back in the court, he saw plays that were there that, for him, passes that were there that he wouldn't have noticed just, playing as he was. But I do think there's something to that. And again, it also, Victor, this first game, he's going to be micro-analyzed, Chet missed a whole year. You're not forgotten, but it does take a little bit of the air out of that balloon.
I mean, even from this game, I'm mentioning Chet, but no one's mentioning Chet.
Right.
Everyone's talking about Wemby's performance.
Exactly.
Every highlight that he had, and look at the stat line. I mean, they're very
super
similar.
comparable. Yeah.
If not Chet having a slightly better game. I mean, he played less minutes, had a higher shooting percentage, and scored one more point, had more rebounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
so
for real.
you know what I mean. And everyone's talking about Wemby, but he was awesome. He's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
that's one thing we know. But like you said, Chet kind of lost steam as far as media hype and the hype train.
And I don't even want to. I'll refer to it. Look, it's almost depressurized more than losing steam because of again, there's a certain expectation that Victor's going to have,
that Chet
and he's going to be looked at. Now that's a little bit off of that. It's sort of depressurized.
Which Chet would have had last year. He would have been because first of all, that class. It's just not as good as this class, anyhow.
Not believed to be,
And Chet would have had a lot more expectations to be the best out of that class.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Well, he went behind Paulo.
Yeah.
And so the whole year it would have been, did the Magic make the right move? If Chet was outperforming Paulo, that would be the thing. If he wasn't, that would be the story. And again, it's kind of just out now. Chet just gets to go in and hoop, and he's on a pretty good basketball team, as we were talking before the show.
That's the next thing I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
So OKC is coming in with a very young, comfortable team, and a competitive team. I mean, and what not a lot of people, but some people are projecting that they are the team to make the big jump. So NBA, NFL, there's always a team that makes that jump. Like last year, it was Sacramento. Sacramento was the young team that made a big jump from not being in the playoffs to
the 3 seed, I believe.
Yeah, and it's not always that big of a jump.
Yeah,
but there's always a team, and OKC is right in line. They have these good young players where they can make a jump and make the playoffs. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, they were in the play-in situation, didn't get all the way to the playoffs, and again, they have a legitimate top 10, 15 player in Shea, and you had, without Chet, a nice team. Gidey is a nice player. If Chet comes in and plays, anywhere near to the expectation of a 2-pick, they're pretty damn good.
And he fits right in because they didn't have a center last year. Like that was part of their problem. They didn't have anyone protecting the rim. But he provides this interesting dynamic, which is similar to Lopez in Milwaukee, where Chet can protect the rim and shoot the three.
Yeah. And
there's just not a ton of guys. I mean, there's less than a handful of guys in the league that can do that.
Yeah.
And he provides that.
Yeah.
So there, if he can stay healthy, and like you said, produce similar to what a number 2 pick can be, and just as a rookie, just something modest. I mean, we're talking 14 and 9 and a couple blocks.
Yeah.
Something they just didn't have at all last year.
Yeah.
They're going to be.
Well, and that's the other great thing with playing with a legitimate star in Shea. Like, you don't have to be that star.
Yeah.
You get to be the number 2 player. And and be a little bit in the shadow.
Yeah.
And Shea's gonna, just because of how good he is, he's gonna take the heat. Now versus where Wemby is, because Wemby doesn't have anybody with him like that. Yeah. It's all gonna kind of fall on him, ready or not. You're the best player on the Spurs already before you play a first official game. Anything that they're gonna do or not do is based on you. And Chet is in a way more favorable situation playing with Shea.
For sure. And it's interesting when you talk Rookie of the Year, because you have all these different dynamics. Rookie of the Year is slightly different than MVP from the aspect of the total wins doesn't play a huge factor in the outcome.
Yeah, because typically the top players are going to weaker teams anyway.
anyhow.
So the expectation to create a bunch of wins is mitigated.
So you have Wemby, who's on a bad team. You like to think his usage rate is going to be through the roof. But the downside to that is we know the Spurs organization. There already talks about them. They're going to take their time with him. He's not going to play in certain games. You can't load manage now with the new rules.
We hope.
But the Spurs
I'm still skeptical.
The Spurs were the originators, and they've already talked about how they're going to do it. And they're going to they will find a way.
Cards right.
And then you have Scoot in Portland. Now, Scoot is he's on a decent team. Not as good as OKC you would think on paper, but it's a solid team.
Yeah.
And now that Dame's out, his usage rate should be through the roof.
And I saw some highlights today.
Yeah.
He looked very good.
He's a good player.
But like what I saw, he was driving to the basket and scoring, but what I saw was in a number of situations he was driving and passing, but he passes with 2 different hands. Like, he was swinging balls to the corner with his left hand and his right hand.
Oh, wow.
That was like, you don't see that a lot.
No,
it's like, you kind of like when you're watching, wait a minute, did he do that with his left hand right there?
Yeah.
He threw it that far at that pace with the other hand. That was pretty interesting. And, I'd only seen him play a couple of times, like in some clips, not even full games. But I'm excited by him as a player. And again, they have a nice young kind of nucleus now without Dame. Anthony Simon's from here, Pedro's Posse veteran. And, they bring in Ayton, who gives them, some presence inside. There's a lot to be.
And I think Ayton would be better than what the other guy was.
Nurkic, right?
Yeah. Nurkic.
Yeah.
Now, and another thing is also, we talked about Scoot coming in and possibly eventually, being better. Or not, you think he could be better than Dame, but at least more impactful on the winning side for sure. But also, I still believe, man, they made a mistake, Charlotte, right, by not drafting Scoot. Who was this?
Oh yeah.
Right.
Who did they? Oh, they took Brandon Miller.
Brandon Miller.
That was for me a disastrous pick.
I just for Jordan to give them as the parting gift, I'm just not a believer in Brandon.
You know what that is? That's an upper decker.
What's that?
That's when you go to a party and you take a dump in the tank, not the toilet, in the upper deck, and you leave it there. And that's what MJ did to the Charlotte Hornets.
Go home. Everybody's like, "Who did this? What is this? Who did this?"
It was fantastic.
Let your long go. I didn't find out, man. That's hilarious, man.
So one time I was coaching at Trinity, And we went on the road to Gainesville. We drive up there, check into the hotel, and you got me and Coach Hicksonball was in one room, and then the players are 2 or 3 or 4 guys to a room, and get off the road. I got to take a dump. So I go over to the players' room, and they're in there. They're playing video games. There's probably 5 or 6 guys in there, and I just kind of subtly walk past everybody, go to the restroom. Took a huge dump, left the door open. And so now they're aware that I've dumped. And they're, oh, Coach, you're killing us. Like whatever. Oh, open the door, whatever. But I didn't flush. So there was like a secondary reaction when somebody like ventured into the bathroom and was staring my dookie down. Pure genius, man.
That's terrible, man.
It's brilliant.
Do those kids
Well,
like
at least
that.
they remember you, man.
That's
They
right.
remember you for that one.
Not for my brilliant fourth quarter adjustments.
Talking about adjustments, man. Yeah, but yeah, I think that's we're gonna learn that was an awful move, and
Yeah.
because I think Scoop's gonna be amazing. So I mean, I think it's a 3-man race for Rookie of the Year, and I'm not sure who I would even pick because of those 3 reasons. Chet's gonna be in. I think he's gonna get more wins. Gonna have more wins.
Yeah, it could be on a really like front page type team
Yeah.
that people are talking about and buzzing about, especially if they make the leap like
If they make
they
the leap,
seem
and then
capable.
they're going to directly point to him. They didn't make any huge free agent acquisitions.
Yeah.
Their draft pick is going to play minimally. It's Chet. So if they make this leap, they're going to point to Chet being the reason, especially if he doesn't get hurt.
For sure.
knock on wood. Yeah. Now, also, in the NBA, do you ever pay attention to these the NBA survey, the GM survey thing?
No, I don't.
So that comes out, huh?
I never heard of that.
Yeah. So every year, the GMs they have this survey where they're like, okay, who's the if you had to start the
Franchise
franchise, who do you start with?
Oh, yeah.
So last year, if you can remember, Giannis won. Giannis had it by I think it was a large margin, right?
Okay.
And this year he dropped to number 9.
Number 9? Wow, that's a fall.
And that is a fall, right? So he was not. He was number 9. And this year Jokic just won. He had 33% of the votes. Okay. So for example, this year Jokic is number 1 with 33% of the votes. Last year Giannis won with 55% of the votes. So that's why I mean large margin, right? Wemby is second. Wemby is second this year, 23. So I was wrong. I'm sorry. Giannis is third this year with 13.
Oh, okay. That seemed just way too much to
he
drop.
was
13%
Yeah.
of the votes. So
Yeah.
he went from 55 to 13, which is still a large drop.
That
though.
is a huge.
No, that is. But what you saw and what
Yeah.
the concerns with Giannis are is you saw a campaign that had a lot more injury time than he's ever dealt with. And again, no evolution of the shooting and the disappointing first-round knockout. And so what you're looking at, though, and you have to consider is, are we looking at a situation where Giannis's body starts to break down and he's no longer capable of doing all that he needs to do? And a lot of what he does, I mean, he does have skill, but a lot of what he is a force of nature player. And when you lose that, whether through injury, age, a combination of both, you drop off hard. Not unlike Westbrook, not unlike Iverson, and I know he's a 6'11" guy, but his game is predicated on insane levels of energy and commitment and attacking. It's not on shooting and subtle playmaking, and it does not figure to age well. And do you look at the injuries he had this year as the beginning of a decline?
Yeah. I guess I can buy that. I still think it's crazy putting.
I'm selling it. You should buy.
I still think it's crazy putting Wemby over him.
Yeah,
that he
yeah.
hasn't played at all. I mean, and I think so much of this is like who just won the championship the year
Sure.
before, and I don't like that. I think that's silly.
I don't
I
know.
thought everything was
But that's kind of the point of winning a championship.
Yeah.
Like you literally get to say, I'm the best.
What, until next year when you don't win and the next person gets all of the votes?
Well, but what
And
I'm
then you win again, and then that person you don't win every year. No one wins every year. Jordan didn't win.
but the
every
best of the best win 3 in a row.
That's silly.
It's not.
It is, man.
No, Jordan did. The Kobe,
All right,
the
but
Kobe,
with that-
the Kobe
in that
Shaq,
era,
the Kobe
that's
Shaq won 3 in a row.
and Shaq.
Yeah,
Like, you know,
that matters.
It, oh, yeah. It matters.
That's
but
why you're great.
it matters, but it's not relevant in this line of thinking. Like, okay,
No, it
who
does.
would you start a franchise with if you had to today? Right? Like none of these guys are winning 3-peats now.
But my point being is why the winning matters is because if you go back to Shaq and Kobe, that era, and you asked that question and took that vote, you'd probably get those 2 guys at 1 and 2, with everyone a good bit behind. Like, winning certifies you on a different level.
Yeah, I would be interested to see the year they lost to Detroit when they had to break up. Who it was before? Who it was that year after? Could have been anybody on the Detroit team.
No, wouldn't they?
Probably would still been Kobe.
Could have been. Yeah, I agree.
Or if LeBron was coming in at the time, I'm not sure, because they might pick a young guy, like, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
like they did with Wemby here.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not sure what year that was off the top of my head. But yeah, but like that's my point. Like, you know,
I think it proves my point though that like
It's
that
winning.
winning is important. Like you got to look at it.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm saying it is wrong. Is what I'm saying.
But like,
That's what I'm saying. It's wrong.
but you look at the evolution of Jokic, MVP, champion, and he ain't. Why do we believe he's going to fall off this year? Like, there's no actual basis to expect him to fall off. He's on an incredible 3-year run of play.
Who's to say Giannis is going to fall off?
He doesn't need to. I mean, again, he may not. But there's more evidence to say he may fall off based on what I just said than there is that Jokic is. And to be fair, I don't think either guy's going to fall off. I think they're 2 of the very best of the best we have in the game right now. And I mean, again, you're saying 1 or 2 or 3. Like, that's not a big margin if you think about it.
No, and especially with these.
But I mean, we have to look at what Jokic is doing and say this is greatness in action as well.
Yeah.
Some of the other things that might make you happy here.
Me personally, or
I saw your guy. So, what player is most likely to have a breakout season? Anthony Edwards was number 1.
yes,
He's gonna be all right, man.
Cade actually came in at number 2. I'm not a big Cade guy.
Cunningham.
Yeah, Detroit. And
he's
then we
played
had,
so little though. It's like it's hard to say what he is.
and then we had 2 Orlando guys at 3 and 4. Franz Wagner, at number 3, and Paulo at number 4 for a breakout season.
I don't like either one of those guys. They're good. I don't like either one in a big way.
Best point guard in the NBA. What would be your guess for GMs to vote?
It's the eternal debate, but I'm taking Steph.
Steph number 1, 63%.
Yeah, but there's always debate: is he a point guard? Is he not a point guard?
You would never guess who's number 2. Best point guard in the NBA.
Number 2.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a surprise pick. I'm just saying.
Oh.
Like, it's not going to be like fucking Tyrese Maxey or anything. I'm just saying, like, second best point guard in the NBA.
Shea?
No. Shea is on here, though. Shea is number 3.
Okay. Who you
You got
got?
a guess?
I'm trying to think.
I saw you peeking over.
Don't think too long. We're live.
Pass.
It's a point guard trade, isn't it?
I don't know, man.
Who we got?
Luka.
Luka. Okay. Yeah. Jeez, that's fair.
Yeah. A lot of people argue with me that he's not a point guard. I tell people all the time he's a point guard. He's the
He's
guy
a
who's.
1, but yeah,
he's-
he got a body of a 3.
Yeah. but
4,
I mean,
really. No, I mean, he does. I mean, like again, you
He got a
know,
lot of weight too.
he probably is the same height and weight as Karl Malone was at this stage of his career, like second or third year in the league.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking at. But see, yeah, I mean, the positional definitions are funky. I mean, to me, I regard him as a point guard. I regard James Harden in Houston as a point guard because he essentially brought the ball up and dictated play the majority of possessions.
Best center pisses me off, of course.
Jokic?
I'm not mad with Jokic being number 1. I'm not. I'm not. But Anthony Davis being number 2 is just fucking.
Oh,
ridiculous.
that's absurd.
It's just fucking ridiculous.
That's absurd. That's crazy. That's from the GMs.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous, man.
They need to slap themselves. That's absurd.
I'm-
How do you overlook Embiid? I mean, he was the MVP last year for Anthony freaking Davis.
Yeah. The last one I mentioned here, they got quite a few on here. Who would you think is the best small forward in the league? Who you think they would pick? I'm sorry.
KD.
KD came in at number 2.
LeBron still?
No. LeBron's actually not pretty high on any one of these lists.
Tatum?
LeBron is number 4. Look, Jason Tatum, 47%. That's pretty high
Makes
too.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when you think about it, I mean, there's not a ton of candidates, man. You had Tatum, Durant, LeBron, Kawhi. You know, these are guys that are aging out.
I was going to say, Tatum's the only guy in the ascendancy of his career. Like, all those other guys are older or, like, you know, a rumor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think shooting guards right now are the best. We're coming out of an era where shooting guards were like the weakest, I think. And now we're entering a strong era because you got Booker, you got Anthony Edwards. You know, Jimmy is exiting his prime, but he's still kind of there. You know,
Carried a team to the finals. He's still there. I mean,
You know
come
what I mean?
on, man.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Put some respect on his name.
No, I'm with you, man. But yeah, I just think that stuff is always interesting. See what, you know, the NBA GMs always have beef with them. I think they're
Well, that is interesting because, like, again, as you know, as fans, a lot of times we criticize or question some of the decisions makings of the GMs, and then when they screw something up here, you feel like, yeah, these guys really do suck. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
a lot of times they're not basketball people, man. They're
could
like
be.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're trying to see how they can make the most money. And
Yeah,
make
finance.
it look good and
Yeah.
financial people. Yeah.
Remember back, like, with the Dwight Howard, like, when he got picked, it was like the Magic were GM by, like, a hockey guy.
Yeah.
Like, that guy, he was, like, from hockey, and
That's
then
great.
but he made the right pick.
yeah.
I mean, he picked Howard over Okafor, and, like, 100% the right pick, not even a debatable.
No.
So, yeah.
So yes, you want to tell the people again where they can find you?
Yeah, at the Luminary Panel, and my personal Instagram is Chauncey Jennings. You can find the Luminary Panel on all social media platforms: TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, Spotify, and let's connect.
All right. Sounds
right,
good,
man.
man.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming in. Enjoyed it, man.
Definitely did, man. All right, so I mean, we're gonna tackle some more things here, but you know, I can let you go here now.
Yeah.
Appreciate you for coming
Oh,
in.
yeah, for sure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, anytime, man. And like you said, once we get the short clips out, we'll tag you in them and
Oh, perfect.
get them out there, and you can use them as well.
I do.
All
Maybe
right?
your viewers will see another side of you.
Yo,
All right,
Yeah,
man. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you, man. Appreciate you. Yes, once again, you guys are on the bench podcast, man. Bubba and Pink, home of sports, music, and mayhem. So we got some NFL stuff to get to. I kind of wanted to tackle this. Probably wanted to tackle this Drake thing, man. So if you have been living under a rock, of course, Drake dropped an album called "For All My Dogs," and most notably, Joe Budden from the Joe Budden podcast, a podcast that I listen to pretty faithfully. So I like Joe, the podcaster. And so
Had to specify the podcaster.
here goes my thing, right? Drake drops an album. I think it's a solid album, but a lot of people have a lot of things to say. My overall feeling, right, because him and Joe has gotten into it, and so I don't need to read the tweets and the messages, but you know, basically Joe criticized the album along with a lot of other people. And but the difference between a lot of people are saying, okay, well, if Drake is going to go at Joe for criticizing the album, he needs to go at everybody. The difference is Drake and Joe has a history, a previous history, and now Joe is part of, he's a part of the media. He's a large voice in the hip hop media. Right. So with them having a negative history, I think it's okay and realistic for Drake to address Joe. And so my overall take is, when you think Drake, you think LeBron James, you think Michael Jordan and all of these,
The best of the best.
the best of the best top tier Titans. People are always going to have something negative and bad to say about them. But the issue is, and the problem is, and I don't see how people don't understand this. there's a reason why they stay on top for that time. Like, you know, if you hate him or hate everything he comes out with, right, and you say this is trash, this is awful, well, how is it continuing to be number one? It's, you know, if you don't like a person just because you don't like them, that's okay. You don't have to like everybody.
Right.
But every time this person comes out with something or does something, to criticize it, I do think it's a little Looney Tune, right? And and the thing about Drake is he has a formula. The problem is people want him to deviate from the formula. But here I am. I'm a person. I've always been poor. You know, coming from Eatonville, 1887, Winter Park, that area. And if I found a fucking formula, X, and X can get me paid every single time I do X, I get paid an exorbitant amount of money. Why the fuck would I do Y? And I don't know what that's going to get me.
That's Will Smith's movie career. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Him and his team studied the highest grossing movies at the time were sci-fi movies, and he just steered his career and kind of the peak of his career into doing all these basically forgettable but revenue generating sci-fi movies.
The extreme difference in that is I don't believe it was like a team thing or what have you.
Yeah.
I think it's just Drake. Like he likes, so on his album, for example, he has the new chick on there I don't like, you know, the sexy red girl where she's you know, she's not good for business. She's horrible, but she has the ear
on a Theo Von thing. She's terrible.
I mean, she's in line with the rest of them, right? She's just the new hot
the new
thing,
hot,
but she's the same as
and
the
none
others.
of them will ever be Drake because they don't have any talent.
But here goes the thing: she's the new hot thing. She has the ear,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And Drake does that on his project. He finds who's the new person, whether they're good or not.
Yeah,
he's going to get them.
Yeah, because he's still going to be him on the verse, and then they do whatever they do, and it all gets.
Then he has a song with Bad Bunny. Now, Bad Bunny is, I don't know how to explain it. He's
huge.
He's like Jesus. And I went to DR. I went to a random club in DR. I thought it was a Bad Bunny club. They only play Bad Bunny.
That's it. The whole night.
The whole night.
Oh, man.
He's humongous in the Latin community, and they love rap music. He's basically a Latin rapper. That's what he is. I don't know what they label that sound.
Right.
But he's a rapper. He's talking Spanish, but he's a rapper.
Right.
Drake has him on there. Then, Drake also.
And Drake's rapped in Spanish himself.
Yeah. It's a formula. He does that. This time it's Latin. Before it was a Caribbean sound, he'll get a Caribbean artist. Before that, it was the London sound. He'll get the top London guy. He does. That's a part of his formula.
Yeah.
People want him to deviate from that and go all 100% black rap. I want you to stay in Houston and give me that Houston rap sound. And I don't want you to leave here. I only want you to rap. I don't want you to sing. I don't want you to do the song with SZA. SZA is one of the biggest female R&B singers out. You did a song with SZA. I don't want you to sing. I don't want you to. This is what I want you to do. And if you don't do that, it's going to be trash. It's going to be awful. And that's just crazy talk, man.
Yeah. No. He's ultra successful at what he does. And then again, like, if you look at his side of that, like it is a formula, but he's showing diversity and risk by partnering with all these other people, including people from different genres. Yeah. So he's looking at it going, I'm all over the place. I'm trying things.
Yeah.
And y'all are just killing me for this. Yeah, it's super strange. I mean, I went to the Drake concert, many years ago at this point, but like, again, in a concert format, like when he goes from like certain genres of songs to like whatever, it is a little disjointed. Like you literally feel you're in two different concerts. Yeah. You know, when he's doing the more traditional rap songs and then when he's doing some of the singing stuff that's softer, like, yeah, you feel like it's two different concerts. The energy changes. Yeah. You know, but that's what Drake is. And he's so big and so prevalent. But you got to realize, like, anytime you get into this, when you are on the come up, you're the new thing. You're amazing. Everyone wants to be a piece of it. When you reach the mountaintop, they have to criticize you. Yeah. They're going to criticize you because of, who exactly you are. They're going to criticize you because you're not something else that may be developing around and you're not part of that. But that's the nature of it. And then when you're at the back end of it, they're going to love you again because they're going to realize you're gone.
Yeah.
And that is the cycle of fame. It's the cycle of fame in music, acting, athletics. That is what it is. Like we're about to feel it with LeBron. Like when we really feel like LeBron's going to be gone, it's going to be a love fest.
I mean, for take it for what it's worth, that's what happened with Kobe.
100%.
That was the whole ebbs and flows that you just named. That's exactly what
it's happened with
Kobe.
every
With every
major star. Like that's that thing, And as long as you exit the stage with grace, they'll love you for that.
We're loving Tiger now.
Yeah, you should.
I wasn't one of the people that were hating Tiger.
Yeah, no.
But Tiger went through a huge hate fest. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what it is.
But then that is, you do some writing and stuff like that. But that's what stories are. Yeah. Like that is a story arc.
Yeah.
You're the new thing we have never quite seen before. We're mesmerized by you, and then you're just that guy. We're gonna try to pick you apart. Like you're not this, you're not that. You did whatever, and then it kind of comes on the back end, and it's like, hey man, I'm gonna just give a quick shout out to this. There's a 4-part documentary on David Beckham on Netflix right now. And it goes through his whole career. And again, I was a soccer fan when he was young and remember a lot of this stuff. But when you break down a documentary, you kind of forget like a lot of different stuff he went through that was really pretty amazing. And, when you watch a documentary, like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And he was a rising star. He was a vilified character, and now he's like the owner of the Miami team who brought Messi to America, and he's this kind of cool older guy now,
No, exactly. And part of the reason why I like Drake is because of his story, because, there was a time when he first was coming out and coming on the scene, nobody wanted to sign him. Like he couldn't find any work in the hip hop community. He would go from studio to studio to studio with this same tape with Replacement Girl with Trey Songz, song he had with Trey Songz. Like, and that's the thing too. Like even now on that song he's singing, that was his very first single he was pushing, and on that mixtape, I mean he's doing a ton of singing, and so it's like and he couldn't find anyone to give him a shot because it was such a different type of thing, a rapper that would do that much rapping and singing, because T-Pain was different in the aspect of, number one, it was a lot of hooks, but also, it was just like Drake is actually singing. This T-Pain was using the auto-tune, and it was just the hot thing at the time. Drake was something totally different. And, and then he got with the guy in Texas, which linked him to Lil Wayne, and then the rest is history. But that story of him really power driving his career and getting so many no's, so many you shouldn't be in hip hop, stay being Jimmy Wheelchair, the acting guy, because you can't do this over here, and him continuing to get on the nose
but that's exactly what we talked about with CJ.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the show, like you can't be afraid of no, you can't be stopped by no, and if you don't allow yourself to do that, you still got a chance. And he did it, and as you're talking about it, I'm thinking about Genius with Kanye.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there doing songs that we now know as legendary hits in some record company office, and they're like not even paying attention to, hey, what are you going to get for lunch? And he's doing like an absolute hit. Yeah. Like, what is going on? But sometimes that's it. That faith in yourself, that commitment to who you are and what you're going to do. And, when you make that happen, and that's the thing, man, like when people get to certain levels, you just have to stand back and respect it.
Yeah.
Because whether it's Drake, Kanye, whoever, there were no's all along that pathway. There were people saying, you're not this, you're not that. And when they get it and make it, just respect it, man. Because it's incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
There's so many people that want to be rappers. There's a billion.
A billion.
There's a billion.
There's a million in Orlando.
And
There's a million in Orlando alone.
Exactly. And like 99% of them are going to get nowhere.
Yeah.
But, the ones that make it, it's just like, yeah, you did it.
Yeah.
And that's great. But the Joe Budden thing, I guess what I'd say, though, is like if Drake's DMing Joe Budden, and even if they have beef, it's a bad move. Because the DMs are going to be screenshot, and they're going to be saved. And at the end of the day, they're probably not going to be flattering. Like, when you DM stuff, it's generally not flattering to you.
Yeah.
And, whether you're having a beef with somebody or shooting a shot at somebody, it's just not going to look good in hindsight.
Yeah.
And so it's probably a bad move. I mean, if I'm Drake and I'm as talented as he is, I just drop an extra song and diss the crap out of Joe Budden. You can't touch that. It is what it is. It sounds good, and I eviscerated Joe Budden.
He's done that in the past.
But that's the better move than the DMs for me. I
think they're similar. I think they're similar. I think you just don't do either. He had the best thing about Drake earlier in his career. He had this line, "Diss me, you never hear a reply for it." And I think eventually he just said, "I guess fuck it, screw it. I'm just going to come at most of the prominent people who have something to say about me."
Yeah.
And
there's a place where that drives business.
Yeah.
Again, taking shots at people, dissing people, like it gets attention.
It does.
It gets views, it gets clicks.
Yeah.
So
that could be a part of this too.
Yeah.
It could be. The only reason why I say it wouldn't be, Forced or whatever here in this case is because of that former relationship and how they did diss each other on songs and things like that in the past.
Yeah.
And Joe, and again, and the things Drake were saying were all true. He had this long IG post where he was saying about how Joe's music career failed, and that's why he, whatever he does the things he does now, but he is, that's what forced him to go into podcasting, things like that. And
damn,
he said,
you
have all
you think Babe Ups can make that post about you? Just recycle that.
I know, right? But and Joe is I love his podcast, but I didn't like him as an artist, and I didn't, and that "Pump It Up" song I think is one of the worst songs ever created in human history.
Really?
And what's unfortunate is that was the very first song I heard from Joe Budden. And what happens is you get a bad taste. If the first thing you hear from somebody is bad to you, you just don't go into it. And what everybody tells me, what people who like Joe Budden, they'll say, well, you have to go and listen to the other songs. And the others say, well, no.
It's a hard. That's why, okay. Because I do that. Somebody will mention, like, hey, have you heard this artist? And I'll say, no, if I haven't. And I'll say, give me their best song, but think about it. Because that's important. Like, and the crazy thing is, more often than not, they screw it up.
Yeah,
they'll send me a song that's just not very good, and I'm like, "This is really the best song they got." like this is not a good song. Man. Because that's the thing. You want to tap in and feel like, oh damn, I heard something.
Right.
But people mess that up all the time, and I give them the warning because I know the power of that. Like, if that first thing is not good, it's so hard to give a second chance.
It is, man.
It's just like, you're just like, I don't want to have to listen to another 3 minutes of this person. Like, this is too much.
And now Drake's saying he's going to take a break. He's going to take a break from music.
That's a big story to me. Like, twofold. Like, the fact that he's taking a break, because part of his brilliance is not taking a break.
Yeah.
And I hate breaks. I'm not a break guy. And then you're announcing this, like, literally as you're promoting this album. Like, there's almost no lag. It just, to me, I don't get the move. It's
just frustration.
But you don't don't give in to frustration. It's bad.
Yeah.
Don't give into it. Stand on what you just did, and then, like, no artist needs to announce they're taking a break. You could just release this project and just not release something for a while.
And they just do, like, and that's what his contemporaries, that's what they do. But his contemporaries, they don't get any lack for it. We hear from Kendrick Lamar like every 4 years, like a presidential
He's
fucking.
Like, I prefer the Olympics or the World Cup. Let's keep the presidential stuff out.
We don't hear from Kendrick on any, like, it's very rare. You know what I mean? J. Cole, we would hear from, like, here and there from verses and things like that, but he's not dropping. He only drops an album like once every 2 to 3 years. You know, like you said, Drake is the most active, and he doesn't get any credit for it. He only gets slack for it. You know,
he may not get credit for it, but it's the reason he's as big as he is.
Yeah,
that's the reality. Like, people may criticize it, but it still made him the biggest there is. Because what he's done is unprecedented in musical history. Nobody's gone. What is it? Is it 10 years maybe? 8 years?
That's a while.
I mean, hell, I went to the concert in 2016. So that's 7 years, and he was already on the map, you know. So it's probably close to 10 years. Like, nobody has ever done this. I mean, there was a period of time, like, before his time when music was album-oriented, and, like, you know, literally it would be, you know, a year or 2 years before a major artist drops an album. So the business wasn't structured the way it is now to allow this. But that is why his brand is as big as it is because he's been nonstop. Yeah. And I just don't like anything about the announcement. I don't like it on the heels of releasing new music. I don't like it if it's kind of like this, hey, I'm getting criticized, let me step away. And I don't like the tag of, like, for my health. Like, don't put that out there.
Yeah.
What does that do? What's the benefit of putting your health out there? I mean, whether you're sick as hell or not. Like, what is the commercial career benefit of putting that out there? I don't understand it.
I wouldn't have done either.
Yeah.
Wouldn't have done either. All right, here. What else did I have here?
You mentioned the NFL.
NFL? We can go to NFL.
You mentioned it. I'm merely following the script.
I wanted to do of course, the NFL is underway. I've been losing a ton of money.
Jeez.
And
got to give up on that gambling, man.
I am. No, it's over.
Don't you do enough gambling with unprotected sex? Couldn't resist.
So I want to do a top 5, bottom 5.
Okay.
My top 5, bottom 5 teams. And the reason is, of course, top 5. Everyone does top 5. We want to know who's top 5 teams in the league. But the bottom 5 is very interesting to me as well because I've been on the Caleb train. I think he's next level. Every time I see him, I go up a step.
Really?
I haven't seen
Stairway to Heaven.
I haven't seen a prospect like him probably in my lifetime.
What?
That serious? Yeah.
Really?
I'm there now, and next week I don't know where I'll be. I don't know.
I don't know
because they did the Andrew Luck thing, and that was the talk. He's a better prospect than Andrew Luck than me. To me, he just is. This guy is fucking amazing. And I called it last. I didn't call it. I got on the train. I hopped on the train last year.
Actually caught this train.
Yeah, I caught this train. I didn't create it or build it, but I caught the train last year, and I was like, yeah, this guy is awesome. He is amazing. And then boom, boom. Then move it into this year. That USC team is not good. They're not good. The defense is really, really bad. Okay, then he does have a couple of weapons. He does, and the offensive line is average to below average. That team is not good. That team is that team only because of Caleb. If Caleb was to go out for a week, they would get pummeled by damn near anybody.
I'm not off the Caleb train, but I will say Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray.
That's what you see?
No, but what I'm saying is Lincoln Riley has made quarterbacks look great.
Oh shit!
He has. I mean, he has.
They don't make him look like this. Not like this.
But my thing is like, I'm an NFL guy in the sense that, you know, and I like Caleb Williams a lot. I think he's worthy of the top pick. And I think he's even worthy of consideration of teams that have young quarterbacks that maybe aren't quite an absolute star, to take him and jettison your current guy. I think he's that good. But I'm still get in the NFL and show me guy. And I'm not saying he can't do it, but I'm not ready to say, you know, best prospect ever until I see, you know, some performance in the NFL. There's
only about 3 teams that I wouldn't take Caleb over. That has a quarterback. Like of course, Mahomes. Joe Burrow, and that's that's
Looking
fucking
suspect.
slipping every week.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, and fucking and then it gets really tricky, man.
Yeah.
I would literally take Caleb damn near over every other quarterback in the league. Fuck, I don't know.
I mean, Josh Allen struggled with some consistency. Tua, again, the durability, and then a guy like Trevor Lawrence is interesting because he's young and he's talented.
Yeah,
and
but
do you still go with Caleb?
Yeah, I still go with
But
I'm not.
But
mad
here,
at
but here,
anybody
and
that
here's
takes
here's the other reason why I think, and almost like the Bears are the most likely team to end up with the top pick, and they have a young quarterback. But the biggest thing is, and I was talking to a coworker the other day, if you take Caleb, you reset the payment plan. Even if he's not that much better than who you've got, you reboot the payment plan. You get another 3 or 4 years of not paying a quarterback money to build your roster and have success. And so whether it is Justin Fields or whether it is, Sunshine down in Jacksonville, like there's an argument to be said, we take Caleb just because now we've got another 3 or 4 year window where we don't have to pay fair market value on a quarterback. And that's it.
Yeah, unless you're a dumb, idiotic team like the Giants, and you pay your incompetent quarterback early, and then you're fucking stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
What a fucking awful, dumb move that was.
Yeah.
And everyone saw it except for the. That's
Except
why I
for the
say
Giants.
I just don't know how some GMs.
Yeah, they would have been better off bringing Chad Powers back.
Like, come on, man. Who would fucking pay Daniel Jones that much
Yeah.
money? Like, who? When you had a chance to just franchise him.
The Cowboys are the same boat. They paid
Not the same as a Daniel Jones boat. At least, okay, I wouldn't have paid Dak the second.
All right, here's the
whatever.
thing. You're both on the Titanic. That's it. Like you can, I prefer the third class, or VIP versus stowage or whatever.
Yeah.
But no, you're in the same boat. You paid for a guy that ain't gonna win.
Yeah.
And now you're kind of stuck with that, and it affects your roster. It affects everything.
Yeah.
And everyone, I mean, like, again, go down the list. Cleveland, same thing.
Cleveland,
Arizona, same thing. Like, all the, arguably, the Ravens are. I mean, Lamar's not played very well.
He's not, but he's not the problem.
May not be the problem, but again, now the money's tied up there.
Yeah.
And here's the problem. If you're the overpaid quarterback, and by overpaid, I mean this. If you're making first-tier money, but you're not carrying a franchise, if you're not absolute elite, you're a cancer in your team. And the reason why is because, okay, we can say, well, maybe you're playing okay, but we've got other problems on the roster. Well, guess why you can't fix those other problems? Because you got all this money tied up in one position.
You sound like me now. Remember
No,
this?
I believe this.
Yeah.
You're right about this.
Yeah.
It's how much better are you than a replacement level player at the position? And that's
a Lamar thing.
The reality is there is very few guys that are true elite performers.
It's only a handful. And I look at the Lamar thing, for example. So last week they lost a game. As a matter of fact, they were the only team that lost in my parlay. They lost me like $600. And Lamar, the problem in that game was his receivers dropped like an absorbent amount of passes, right? And when I look at it, I say, okay, so you got Kansas City, like their receivers, they drop a lot of passes. They're like number 1 or 2 in drop passes. They have a lot of either just bad receivers or very young and inexperienced. The difference is, it's just like you said, Mahomes is one of those guys. He can just overcome that, and it's like, how can a quarterback overcome receivers dropping wild one passes? I don't fucking know. He just does.
It just happens.
like watch the games. These guys, Tony, I don't think he's caught a pass all fucking year. Like these guys drop passes left and right, but some kind of way he makes those winning plays, and they're winning these close games because he's that plus multiplier. Where to affect what Lamar hasn't been. Now to Lamar Jackson's credit, He hasn't been the reason. There are other reasons why they have been losing these close games.
But
But
there's like that's the like. There's very few guys, and again, it's a popular narrative now. Like you look at the Patriots struggle, and they don't have a quarterback, and it's literally enhancing Tom Brady. Like, how is he able to do this? And for the majority of his career, the Patriots cycled like second-tier bargain basement dudes around him, and they always won. And then the 1 or 2 year gap period when he had elite, Randy Moss, he put up
outrageous.
historic seasons.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the reality of football is that Pat Mahomes has already had that time with the elite talent. And pretty much for the balance of his career, he's going to be trying to cobble games together like this. And what you see is, and the way they play is different. They don't drill people. They kind of cobble around and overcome drop passes, and then you have 15 at the end of the game. And more often than not, he's going to manufacture drive, find a way to get a possession that wins a game for you. Lamar Jackson is in the same place, but he's just not that good. He's not Pat Mahomes good, where he can just find a way to grind. I mean, they lose a game by 1 score to the Steelers, who are really struggling. And it's like, what did you need to win? Maybe one more scoring drive, maybe one more time-consuming drive, a couple first downs. You got to find a way.
You got to find a way, man.
You got to find a way.
Yeah. And
that's what this comes down to. And again, the truly elite dudes, that's what they do.
And you want to hold out, you want to cry, and you want to, and hey, and you got it, man. You got all the money. You did it. Congratulations.
Secured the bag.
You did it, man. But you got to know what's the result of that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a.
Well, and it goes back. I don't always agree with him, but Shady McCoy makes good points. He goes, what receiver in the history of football has said, I want to go play Lamar? That's telling. That's telling.
He had his 2 best receivers he ever had left. One left for less money. And it tried to make it seem like, it's because he has a relationship with that coach. But that means something.
Yeah.
He left for less money than the Baltimore Ravens was offering him.
Right.
I mean, come on.
No, that is. I mean, it is telling of something. It doesn't mean that he's garbage, but it does tell you something.
Yeah. All right, let's get to my my top 5 teams. This is going to be very easy here. All right, I'm gonna go 1 through 5, just because I didn't have a ton of time to prepare.
Well, that would be top 5, just like the segment.
Normally people go
demands.
5 through 1 for.
Oh, do they for dramatic effect?
For dramatic effect.
Oh, okay.
Number 1, I'm gonna go with the 49ers, San Francisco 49ers. They're just the best team in football. They destroyed the Cowboys, which I think both of us enjoyed.
Yes.
And they took them apart. Brock Purdy, a 7th round pick, just been a fucking marvel these last 2 years. Anything outside of injury, he's been really, really good. You can call him a sister quarterback. You can call him whatever you want to call him, but you have to call him a winner.
Yes, you do.
A winning quarterback of the best team in football right now. Okay. Number 2, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Chiefs. And the reason, of course, is because of Mahomes. The one game that they did lose is where they just didn't have anybody. It was the first game of the season. He was missing his best player on offense that he has, which is Kelsey, and he was missing his best player on defense, which is Chris Jones. All right. Also Nick Bolton, which is their best linebacker. So missing a lot, and still that was a 1 possession game to the Detroit Lions.
Well, that and the 1 possession arguably was the pick 6 off of through the hands of his own guy.
The perfectly placed drop pass to Tony, which which I would have cut. Just he couldn't even gotten the plane that night home. So you think about that. They're 4-1, and he has an offensive lineman who has the most fucking penalties in the league now, and that should drop them down a bunch. But they're still winning, and they're the defending Super Bowl champions. So I have them at number 2. All right, coming in at number 3 is a team that I don't fully believe in this year, but they're still undefeated, and that's the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. Now this is not a standings just a standings top 5, but one thing about the Eagles, they were in the Super Bowl last year. Okay, they haven't been as prolific on offense or defense, and that can lead to, because their offensive and defensive coordinator left to get head coaching jobs this year.
Yeah.
You got to think about that. And they're each game they're getting stronger. Each game it looks like they're becoming the Eagles of last year. So you just have to keep that in mind. But now they do have some games coming up, man. They still have to play Miami. They have to play Kansas City, Buffalo, 49ers. So we're going to find out a lot about, and of course the Cowboys twice. We're going to find out a lot about the Eagles coming up, and we'll see if they, what they look like then, especially against the 49ers, because that's the only team standing in the 49ers' way on the East Coast there, NFC side. All right, so that's number 3. Number 4 is where it gets a little tricky for me here. As I'm going through, I would still have to side with Miami. Now, every year in the NFL, there's going to be roughly 2 games from good NFL teams where you just look at the end of the day and you're like, what the hell happened here? And that's the Buffalo game is the first game for Miami. It's like, what the hell happened here?
Yeah.
All right. And so that's the only game they lost. It's just a throwaway game. You just have to do it. They have a prolific offense, average to below average defense. But you have to place them there, especially after Buffalo looks so dominant in that game, then comes out and wets the bed the very next week against Jacksonville. They're just an inconsistent team. All right. So.
Yeah, don't underestimate, big emotional game with Miami.
Yeah.
And then travel to London.
Yeah.
That's and the Jaguars have been there for a full week.
Yeah.
And set up in there. It was a poor performance by the Bills. I'm not dismissing that. But by the same token, I almost would have preferred if Miami had a throwaway game against a different opponent. Because the Bills being a division rival and being a potential playoff opponent.
Means something.
It has meaning. It would have psychologically been significant to go up to Buffalo, play well. And the circumstances were right because you're going up to Buffalo in September, not in the the deep cold. And I thought that was really a lost opportunity for the Dolphins. But I agree with you. My top 4 and yours are in harmony.
Yeah. And similar to the other team, we still somewhat, early in the season. So similar to the Eagles, we're going to find out a lot about Miami as well as they have, the Eagles, Kansas City, Buffalo again. Buffalo is the last game of the season, and I really hope that game is going to have meaning, because you want to see if Miami can bounce back, and it's going to be home in Miami.
Yeah.
All right. So, and number 5, I have to go with Detroit here.
That's crazy. My top 5 is exactly the same. Yeah.
So I think you have to go with Detroit here. We don't want to dismiss them. The only game they've lost is a tough game to Seattle, which Seattle is a top 7 or 8 team. And that was a 1-possession game that they lost there. Now they haven't played a ton of teams that are really good, but they're winning these games. All right.
They're stacking wins and stacking confidence.
Yeah.
And it's a team that believes in itself, and that's getting affirmed every week. And it's a team definitely on the rise, and that's why I think you definitely, I feel comfortable putting them there.
Now the difference between Detroit and all these other teams, they have a really favorable schedule. I mean, you think about it. They played Carolina, Green Bay, Atlanta, Seattle, and Kansas City. Right? Those are 4 of those teams are average to whatever, below average. Coming up, you got the Ravens, the Las Vegas Raiders, Chargers, Bears twice, Packers again, Saints, Denver, Minnesota twice, Dallas. That's the schedule.
Yeah.
Tell me one game you're afraid Detroit can lose.
They feel like last year's Eagles.
Yeah.
They do. The schedule, they got off to a good start, and the schedule lines up pretty well. It's very similar situation.
Yeah. So, Detroit is going to be a playoff team, and we'll look to see what they can do in the playoffs, especially with some confidence behind them. Now,
the bottom 5.
The bottom 5. This is also really simple, but also I'm going to throw the Caleb component in there. The very worst team in the league, I'm actually going to go with Arizona here. Okay.
Really?
They don't have the worst record, but I think they're the worst team. Now they do have the one win there against Dallas, right? And so that's why a lot of people probably wouldn't put them last, but that's the Dallas Cowboys.
I wouldn't put them last for a couple reasons. I
But-
don't think there was a big expectation for success. They can look at this stretch and say, we don't have Kyler Murray, whether you like him or not. It has an excuse to what they are accomplishing. I don't think for those two reasons that they are as mentally destroyed as the two teams I would put below them.
No, but if I were them, I would severely tank the rest of the season.
Well,
Kyler
okay.
wouldn't see the skin of daylight.
If we're saying, likelihood to tank, I thought we're just looking at where are we
worst-
at this
the worst
moment,
teams.
bottom 5 teams.
I'm keeping this is the Caleb sweepstakes,
okay.
bottom 5. Okay, Caleb sweepstakes, bottom 5, and I think Arizona is the prime team to where I think they can benefit from Caleb the most, because they made a mistake with Kyler.
Yeah.
They were kind of forced to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, you can trade. Kyler still has value, right? So you can trade Kyler and that contract. You can still do it. All right. Don't let him play this year. Don't let anybody see him. His good tape is on tape. You can watch him. Give us it, whatever you got. 3rd round pick, 4th round pick. What you got for us? You get that. You can supplement that on your defense. You take Caleb with your number 1 pick. I think Arizona benefits the most from Caleb. All right. I would go with Carolina next. Okay, Carolina's a bad team. They fight a little more. Okay, they've had some closer losses. I mean, I know they just got blown out last week by Detroit, but they had some close losses to New Orleans and Minnesota and things like that. But Carolina is a team where Caleb can come in and just start day one. They don't have.
But again, they're in that weird position of they literally just took the top pick quarterback.
Yeah.
And you'd be in a position of moving on from that player in 1 year.
But they could trade him.
Yeah, I mean, you can, but yeah, it's an interesting situation.
Okay. The Giants, they're awful.
See, my bottom 2 are the Giants and Denver, because I think those two teams are the biggest shit show in football.
The thing about Denver's after the Giants for me as 4. So the Giants, we know what the issue is there. They're a bad team. We talked about they paid Daniel when they shouldn't have paid him. They can draft Caleb and I don't think you could trade Daniel. The hope there is that you can house, because of Caleb will be relatively on a cheaper deal. You can house the 2 quarterbacks, keep Daniel as a backup, over expensive backup.
Yeah.
But you exhaust all your things to try to trade Daniel, and you just move on from there. But that's not an ideal situation for Caleb. It's not, not for
No,
Caleb.
they don't have a lot of offensive talent.
And you
Although
won't be
they
able
got
to-
to turn Hyatt loose on offense. Me and Peyton Manning were talking about that the other day. No, they're not giving him chances.
He's
barely getting on the
explosive.
field,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
an explosive
He's
guy.
explosive,
And like
yeah.
again, when you don't have a whole lot of talent, like why not get a guy out there that can take the top off of defense?
Now, Denver is interesting in the Caleb sweepstakes because after next year, you can cut Russell with less financial ramifications on your team. All right. But of course he's on a massive deal now. Also not an ideal situation for Russell for Caleb. Denver's a really bad team. Their defense is awful. They don't have a lot of weapons on offense as far as what we thought was weapons. I thought Jerry Jeudy was good. He's not. He hasn't been good this year.
I don't know. Like again, you have Judy and Cortland Sutton were both guys that were kind of highly regarded coming in.
And Cortland has been
And
decent this
the
year.
production for neither has been overwhelming, but like since Russ has been there, it's been so dysfunctional that but it's twofold. Are those guys not the players we thought they were? Or to what extent has their development been compromised by being in this dysfunctional offense? If they were in a better situation, better quarterback, better system, would they be further along developmentally as NFL wide receivers
Very possible.
than they are now? To me, it's hard to believe they wouldn't. We like the talent in the draft. There was nothing no significant, red flags on either one. Nobody was saying Randy Moss was getting drafted, but there was talent there, and it hasn't flourished at all.
It hasn't. Now Russell hasn't been awful this year. Like he was
Yeah,
awful
he's had
last
some
year.
moments, yeah.
He's been okay to decent. He's been decent this year.
I think that Peyton and Russ don't like each other.
Yeah.
And I think that, and I alluded to this several weeks ago, I think Peyton realized he didn't like this team once he got into it. That's why he fired the shots at Hackett's work last year. That's why he's fired shots at Russ. And he's built in all the excuses. He laid the foundation or planted the seeds for of this failure on things other than himself. And so in a lot of ways, like Caleb Williams would be like the holy grail for him. It'd be a lifeline in Denver.
They do. But again, I think good for Denver, really bad for Caleb. I would not want to touch Denver if I was Caleb.
That means that you don't think much of Sean Payton.
It means I don't like that team is going to be bad for a little while. There is too many holes to fill, and you still have that Russell contract to deal with.
But
nobody's going to trade for Russell.
But you said
price.
After this year that they could get rid of him
next year. So
one more year.
So after
Okay,
one more
okay,
year.
okay.
After one more year.
Okay.
And even then, you're still going to lose money, just not an absorbent amount.
for sure.
And so you look at the next 2 or 3 years where you really can't put a lot around, and you lost draft picks. Like you lost draft picks trading for Russell.
You know what this is setting up for?
What's that?
2025. Dion to Denver with Shador.
Watch out for it.
Yeah.
My last team on the bottom 5. I have to go Minnesota for a couple of reasons. It's not that Minnesota is such a bad team. It's just that this is the ideal situation for Caleb. This is where Caleb wants to be. They're 1-4. What Minnesota needs to do is trade Kirk Cousins yesterday. They need to trade Kirk Cousins. The Jets want him. Let them Jets have him for whatever price. I don't give a fuck. If you only get a 6th-round pick, so be it. Let them take Kirk.
Give him away for a complete set of cones for practice.
If you didn't notice, they just bought in your former. I think he's the Florida State quarterback, right?
Who?
Oh man, what's his name? They bought him in. They're going to.
Who? The Minnesota?
Yeah. They just bought him in yesterday. I'm gonna get it. Give me 1 second here. I saw the name. I'm pretty sure it's Florida State. I'm not 1,000% sure.
We don't have any quarterbacks.
No. It's Texas. I'm sorry. Colt McCoy. All right. So they bring in Colt McCoy and a couple of others to work out, and they're looking to sign. I think that's a sign for, hey, we're going to look to move Kirk.
Move Kirk Cousins, yeah.
Bring a veteran in that we know is going to lose games. He's known for losing games, but they won't be able to blame us because he is a veteran, and we're just going to tank.
When you're without Justin Jefferson for a couple weeks.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
And then you can extend that.
And Caleb played with Jordan Addison last year.
Boom, boom. I mean, this is where I want Caleb
to go.
If I'm a Caleb guy, I want him away from Mahomes. I want him in the NFC. I only want Mahomes to see him once a year, and that's the Super Bowl.
If that.
I want him over there. I want him to dominate. And Minnesota they have a promising football team. If they can just get Caleb in there, then you
like the receivers. I mean, Jefferson's as good as anybody in football.
Hockenson.
And Hawkinson's solid, and Jordan Addison's shown some promise.
Get your new defensive coordinator in there. Spend some money on defense. You have Caleb. You have extra money to spend.
I do like the Kirk Cousins, and I think Kirk Cousins would be good for the Jets.
Yeah.
And I still kind of like this Jets team. I don't want them to languish.
No, they're still, and Kirk can do some good over there.
Yeah.
This is a win-win-win all across the board.
Yeah. I like it.
Let's do it.
Make it happen.
Well, and also just some general NFL notes. I mean, we kind of touched some things there. Thursday Night Football, we have Kansas City and Denver. Well, Russell and Mahomes, they've been playing nice in the news.
Do they have an established beef? Does Pat have a beef with anybody?
That's a good question.
I don't think he does.
No.
He's cool.
Does
Maybe-
anybody
maybe-
have beef with anybody in the league, really? Like, real beef? The 49ers and Cowboys are starting. I mean,
Yeah.
I guess that's an old rivalry, if you will. But these players are kind of keeping up with it, with the Parsons
Yeah.
saying.
Parsons is a talkative guy.
He's a talkative guy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good for the Cowboys.
No. Well, I mean, you have Dak.
It's not. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to.
Play the part. Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. You have Dak Prescott as your guy,
Yeah.
and he's not the guy.
We've been saying it
Forever.
since the initial radio show.
Forever.
And you get guys on here like Wood and other Cowboy guys that call in, and they're like, "No, it's not them. It's Jerry picking the play. No, it's not. It's the coach. It's the coordinator."
The funny thing,
every year is something new other than that.
The funny thing is with Cowboy fans is that, like, I can know Cowboy fans without knowing the person all that well. Other people, I actually have to know them pretty well to know their team preferences. But Cowboy fans just have a way of being out there that, like, just passive aggressive in their social media.
Yeah.
That you know who they are. Like, most other people, I don't know. Like, I know you. I know the Chiefs. But people that I casually know, I don't know who their favorite team is all that often.
Yeah.
But Cowboy fans, there's a bunch of people I know gently, and I know that they're Cowboy fans because of their posts and stuff. But yeah, I mean, like
slowly
George
turning on that.
George Kittle said, "Fuck the Cowboys."
That was awesome.
That is.
Now, I
good.
wonder, like, if he didn't have a good game, does that shirt never make an appearance?
Of course, yeah. If he went one catch for 8 yards, that shirt ain't going out. I may be walking off the field if the 49ers won,
the score still,
but Kittle didn't personally play particularly
That's
well.
what I'm
Yeah,
asking.
absolutely,
That's what I'm wondering.
absolutely.
Yeah, so you got that beef there. Yeah, but we talked about that. I mean, the fans are slowly coming along. Hey, that may not be the guy.
Yeah.
But it's no maybe in it.
But Shady
He's not
McCoy
the
is
guy.
on our side.
Oh yeah.
He's been ripping Dak for years.
Yeah.
He's just not any good.
Yeah.
He had one like back in the preseason, like I think it was Diggs in practice, like picked Dak off, and he's just like, like called him you bitch ass whatever, and he goes, Shady's like, I played with Josh Allen, I played with Tom Brady, I played with Pat Mahomes. It goes, there's nobody on the team, there's nobody working for the organization at any level, in any capacity. There's not a janitor whose lips could form up to say the words bitch ass to any of those other guys. And if it's true, I mean, there's a truth to that.
It has to be.
That's the truth to that. Like, when you respect like, there's shit talk, but when you respect that other person, like, it doesn't go to that place. It really doesn't. It'd go to more of like a playful thing. But when you call somebody a bitch ass, like, that's different. I don't respect you.
Yeah.
That's like, and especially in practice, I'm literally frustrated with you that I'm getting this pick because like, you're going to give this to somebody else too.
Yeah.
When it matters.
This was too easy.
That's the thing, man.
Yeah. That's for sure, man. Yeah, I don't know what that's. They're in a tough situation too. You kind of got to ride the Dak thing out. It's unfortunate for them, but that's just what you have to do over there, man.
Yeah, it was weird because they kind of caught that break in the middle of last year with that Cooper Rush guy, but then they brought Dak back and immediately played him and have really lived to regret it. And I don't know. I mean, is Cooper Rush still the backup? Like, I don't know. Did he have like a bad camp?
They got Trey over there too, but so
yeah, they brought Trey
apparently
Lance, yeah.
Cooper is still second string and Trey
Yeah.
is like the developmental third string.
Yeah.
Did you give Trey a run soon?
Well,
Depending on how the season goes?
the way the season goes, I mean, the Cowboys are still figured to be a playoff team.
Yeah.
And so as long as that's in front of you and Dak's healthy, you really have to kind of
You
just
have to
ride the hand you're
that's what I
dealt.
said. You have to ride it out.
If they either hit a decline where the performance kind of takes him out of the playoff picture, or he has a legitimate injury that takes him off the field, then I think you do. Now, if it's like a 1 or 2 game injury like last year and you're still in contention, you probably go with Cooper Rush. But if Dak were to have like a season-ending injury, I really think that probably tips the scales to Trey and see if you got anything there, because you don't know.
They have an interesting 3-game stretch here coming up with the Chargers, Rams, and Eagles. The Rams are an interesting people thought they were going to be like bad, they're really bad coming off of last year, but they're getting more healthier. And then they have the two receivers that just came out of the blue. Nobody thought of.
Pua and Nakua, and he's been great.
And Atwell.
Yeah, Atwell was on the team last year.
Right.
Yeah.
And then of course Cooper is
bringing him
healthy
back.
now.
Yeah.
So they're looking into and the Chargers are always going to be a tough team.
And I still think I think Sean McVay's a pretty good football coach too.
Yeah.
I wasn't on the thing that they would be bad.
Oh, the Rams, yeah.
Yeah, because I do have a lot of faith in Sean McVay. I mean, it frustrates the crap out of me that every year we have to talk about him maybe retiring at 37. Yeah. But the dude can coach football. And that's my biggest issue with him retiring, or if that's what he does, because I think he's too talented to retire. Like, give us what you have. And I'll be frustrated if he does that prematurely. But I thought the Rams would be okay because of him. And when you find a couple young receivers, that really makes it a lot easier to be okay.
Coach says traditionally the Dolphins struggle with Buffalo.
Yeah. And that's why, to me,
those demons.
if you had an outlier game against like the Rams, if you just go play the Rams and crap the bed, I feel way better about it. I think there is a psychological burden with the Bills because there has been a lack of success that gave that game a little bit more significance to crap the bed up there.
Yeah. Well, that's our time for today. Don't have a guest scheduled just yet for next week.
But we'll find one.
Bethune Homecoming. Homecoming is this week.
All right.
This weekend, so may have some stories there. All right. And we'll get going. Maybe.
Back-to-back wild weekends for you.
Yeah, man.
You still up for it?
Living the life now. It's very tiring, man.
Oh, hey, for the record, last time you went to homecoming, you seemed to be on the cusp of being involved in a swing party.
Yeah.
For me, for the fans, don't fuck this up this year.
They're running it back. The same party is going down.
Well, you need to run that one to the end.
Part of the problem is I was solo. A lot of my old college roommates didn't come down last year. They're coming down this year.
I was gonna say this.
The wild guys are in town.
In terms of being at a swing party, being solo might not be the worst thing in the world.
It's not, but it's not like a natural swing party. It's not like it's not.
You were board admission pretty early. I was disappointed.
But it was and it was surprising. I didn't know that was.
Yeah, well, now you know. That was your mulligan.
That was the mulligan, right? Catch you guys next week.
All right, we're out.